Hello and welcome to Say Yes to You and Why You Don't. I am mindset and lifestyle coach Claudia Braun for busy professional women who are really good at saying yes to others, but not necessarily as good at saying yes to themselves. So today we are talking about this idea of getting out of your comfort zone. And I want to tell you a story about my jumping off a mountain. So, several years ago, I was in Costa Rica with a friend of mine, and before we went on the trip, we were planning things, and we had heard about waterfall rappelling, and I thought that sounds so fun. I love the water, and it just sounded like it would be just a really fun thing to do. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't really know what that entailed. I just thought water, Costa Rica, how that sounds great. So we get there and we are taking the Jeep up, and then we are guided to do the gear and how to jump and all the things, and still kind of great with it. It's like, this is fun. We're walking up and having a nice time. It's beautiful country. And then I see I'm lining up and I see the people ahead of me and I see what they're doing and I think, oh my God, I have to jump. I have to jump down this mountain. And it was about 7 stories high. And my friend and I looked at each other and we're like, oh my God, what do we say yes to? What do we say yes to? And we both felt that moment of fear of we have to just turn around and let go. And they told us the more you hang on, the more you're going to get cut up because if you hang on, you'll be too close to the mountain and you're going to be bouncing off the mountain. So it's going to cut your legs and whatever else is exposed, right? So thing is that you stand there, you hold back, you lean back, and you let yourself be taken down. And you're harnessed, there's people down below that are making sure that you're safe. And I mean, it's a reputable company. We knew, and I'd seen people go before me, so I knew it was okay. But my mind, when I was a little kid and I had to jump off a high dive, I didn't much like it. So here we are standing at the mountain and we are leaning back. Well, we're each doing our own thing, right? I'm leaning back and I'm realizing, okay, I could feel what happened when I let go a little way. When I let go, I could feel, I could feel what it was like to just be taken down. I could feel the ease of it. And I was like, okay, I have to do more of this. I have to lean back and just let gravity, the experience take me. And I did. And I was so excited and proud of myself. And I got to the bottom. I just felt so good. And I didn't have any cuts. And I had walked through my fear. And my friend actually didn't do as well. They struggled a bit. So why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because say yes to you and why you don't is that feeling of standing on the mountain. And when we're standing at the mountain, there's some comfort there. For some people, even going up a mountain is scary. But when you're on solid ground, there's a feeling of comfort. There's a feeling of safety. You know what to expect. But when you take the step off, you don't know what to expect. I'd never done that before. And that's the experience you're asking yourself to make when you have been somebody all your life who has said yes to other people, yes to your work, yes to your family, whatever the responsibilities are that you have been the go-to person for. When you have said yes to all these things, the safety, the comfort, all that you know is invested in saying yes to these things. And when you say yes to all these things, you inadvertently say no to yourself. Not intentionally, perhaps, but it's a byproduct. You have so many hours in the day. And when everything else is getting your time, getting your attention, getting your resources, maybe even your financial resources, there's going to be less for you, or it's going to feel like there is. But if your energy is drained because you're giving, 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 how much do you have left for you? And that is what creates the resentment, the guilt, that feeling of, I can't, I have to. All of that is going to keep that heaviness feeling in you. And it's going to feel like you can't jump. It's like you have sandbags on you and you can't jump. These old ideas that are carrying a heavy bag on your back that weighs you down, and you can't jump, even if you want to, because of all the rocks in your bag. I see this when I talk with women and they say, oh, I need somebody like you. And then they start realizing, that maybe they'd have to change a little bit. And then fear kicks in, and then they get scared. And remember the acronym for fear: false evidence appearing real. You start to believe those ideas. That's who I am. That's who I have to be. And I always tell my clients, you don't have to change anything. But I know that if you have reached out to me and you are considering a coach, you've identified something isn't working. So it's that thing that's not working that needs to change. Anything that works, you don't have to change. And that's what it is like to jump when we hold on. Like my friend who wasn't willing to let go, they got all caught up. There's a much more ease in being willing to kind of go with the experience. And we're willing to let go of those things that are hard and hold us back, it actually gets easier, not harder. But in the beginning, it's a jump. It feels hard. It feels heavy. And there are a lot of ideas and beliefs about it's wrong to get help. There's shame in asking for help. There's a belief you should be able and have to do it on your own, which also creates this heaviness and holds you back. And this is really an opportunity to look at how could more letting go create more ease in your life. I was talking with a woman the other day, and she was saying, I'm so glad to meet you because, I've been taking a lot of ibuprofen for these tension headaches, trying to hold it all together. My 6-year-old having to remind me about things because it's really hard. And it is really hard when you're trying to stay in control, when you're not allowing yourself to see how your mind is in your own way. And it's not something that we as a culture are necessarily encouraged to do. We're not necessarily encouraged to look at how your mind is in your way. We are encouraged to work out our body. We know that if you want to stay healthy, you need to eat well, you need to move your body and things like that, which are true. But if we don't also look at the thoughts, the ideas, what we're putting in our mind on a regular basis that are contributing to our not feeling greater ease, greater well-being in our life, things won't change. I was talking to a woman the other day and she said, I just don't feel at ease. I feel like things are just like I'm worried more and more anxious. I am having a hard time with how things are. And when we are investing our mind in our worries, in our fears, again, false evidence appearing real, fear, we're going to feel like life is hard. We're going to feel like it's a mountain we can't climb. Or it just gets bigger and bigger. The mountain gets higher and higher, and it's harder to climb it. So today is really about the willingness to start to see where you're keeping yourself attached to what is, there's a line that says we fight for our limitations. And when we think that we have to be a certain way, we can't change, we fight for our limitations. And again, it's staying in that comfort zone because it's what you've known. I remember some years ago when I was introduced to a program, and it was it was something that was time consuming, and it was way out of where I had ever invested in myself. And my initial thought was just no, it's just a no for me. I'm not going to do it. That was my programming. No, I don't spend that on myself. That was my programming. Didn't believe that was something that anybody did until I did it. Until I did. And then when I did, I realized how much harder my life had been before I did that work, before I allowed myself to have tools that could make my thinking easier. I didn't realize you don't know what you don't know, and I didn't know. And so making a decision from a mind that didn't know was a really hard place to make a decision from. And when I finally was able to allow my mind to expand and see another way, more possibilities, I opened to a yes for myself. And that yes for myself allowed me to say yes to a lot of other things as a result, because it pushed boundaries. It pushed barriers that how I knew myself. I hadn't known really, no one in my family did things like that. I had a friend who had done something like that, but she was the only person I knew. And so up until then, it didn't seem okay. And when we are stepping out of our comfort zone, doing something new, investing yourself, coaching, getting out of your comfort zone, taking on a new way, it's going to bring up all the reasons why you don't say yes to yourself. It's going to bring up all the reasons why it's easier to say yes to others. All these ideas keep you in a pattern, in a mold of this is how it has to be. And usually how it has to be is harder, struggle, because it's using the limited ideas that you have had to get you to where you are. But, as Einstein said, keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And when we see ourselves, something isn't working in our life, or there is a lack of inner peace and inner well-being, it's an indication things aren't exactly right. And whenever I hear somebody or I know somebody having physical pain, back pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, that's also an indication of something we're not paying attention to. Because I believe the body gives us clues. And when we are not paying attention for long enough, it just knocks harder. So if your body is giving you clues, if you find yourself, your jaw is tighter than normal, your neck is tighter, your shoulders are always up at your ears, it's an indication that something needs to be looked at. And so I invite you from this episode to really look at, where are you fighting for your limitations? Where are you not allowing yourself to know something about yourself? Where are you not allowing yourself to say yes to something that would be good for you? What do you always say no to because it would challenge you, take you out of your comfort zone? And yet inside you feel you'd like to experience it. This is really important to pay attention to, because when we're programmed to say yes to people, things, experiences, it means we're programmed to not saying yes to ourselves. We're programmed to keeping ourselves smaller, smaller and away from our genuine desires, we might be able to create massively in terms of financial success or our work. But when it comes to our personal, that feels like people have said it's frivolous, it's selfish, it's indulgent, right? When you're in a producer environment and that's your worth or that's your value, I'm better because I'm such a giver, better because I'm a provider. Don't allow yourself to see where you're not giving to yourself in a way that nurtures yourself, because that nurturing is not quantitative. Can't put a number on it, but it is your peace of mind. It is your well-being. It is your joy. And you sacrifice that. And then how much benefit are you feeling from these things? How much value do you feel? Because we can use success as a way to measure, but it's an indication of how are we defining success. Because if you're congruent and you feel good inside and good outside, that is a beautiful form of success. But when there is success on the outside and inside, it feels empty, or it feels sad, or it feels lonely, or it feels effortful, that is not success. Because really, what we take with us always is our inner well-being. And, people always say at the end of their life or when they get sick, they don't want to work more. They don't want to do more of that. They want to invest in their health. And I am a firm believer that our health is based on our emotional and our mental well-being. The way we are giving to ourselves is how we will be able to feel the connection to all that we care about. And the idea that by giving to yourself, somehow you're taking away from those outside yourself is just not true. Because the truth is that the more you prioritize you, the more you invest in taking care of you, the more you actually have to give to those you care about. And I also believe it is the most unselfish thing you could do to take care of yourself. Because when you take care of yourself, nobody else has to take care of you. When you get sick, people do have to help you. They have to take care of you. So the greatest gift you have to give to yourself and others is your prioritizing you. And that means saying yes to you and knowing that you matter. And it is a stepping out of the comfort, stepping out of the familiar. And you create a new way of experiencing yourself. And that becomes your comfort. And you realize you're no longer willing to be in a place where you are not emotionally, spiritually, mentally fed, because it feels too painful, too empty. So from this experience today, I hope that your takeaway is to look at, where am I fighting for my limitations? Where am I holding myself back? Where am I not allowing myself to jump for my own happiness, for my own joy, for my own well-being? Because here's the thing. The only person that we can change is ourselves. We might know or think we know how other people need to change, but that's not our business. That's up to them. If they want to, they will. The only people we really can affect is ourselves. And to me, that's the good news, because we don't have to wait for somebody else to do it. Here and now, we can make the changes that are calling to us. So what is that thing that is calling to you, that wants you to say yes to you, that you've been saying, later, when I retire, or when my kids are grown, or when my husband retires, or whatever it is. Don't put it off. Here's the thing. Now is all we are guaranteed of. The past, it's gone. We can ruminate over it. It's over. The future, we don't know. Today. So this isn't about changing your life in one fell swoop, but it is about looking at today. What's one thing that you can do to say yes to yourself? And I would love to hear if you would put that in the comment section. And if you are getting value from this podcast, which I hope you are, that you will like it, subscribe, and share it with others, because it is my mission, it is my passion to bring more women into this ability to say yes to themselves and really see how they don't, and how they are keeping themselves caught in this vice of hard, effortful, worried living, which is not what we're all here to do. We're here to have way more fun, to enjoy this experience, and not wait until we retire. Because who's to say what will happen then? I was recently in a call with somebody, and she said once her mother retired, she ended up with Alzheimer's, and she and her dad couldn't travel in the way they wanted to. They tried for a little while. I mean, the future is unknown. We can't know what's going to happen. But today, you taking that thing that you need to do, getting coached, going on a walk, painting. I don't know what that thing is for you, but I know if you're listening, there's something here that you want for yourself. And so I invite you to not wait. And I have a gift for you as my listener. I have 3 strategies to own your yes to you. And I will put that in the show notes, and you can go to www.freebie.claudia-braun.com, www.freebie.claudia-braun.com, and put in your name and your email address, and I will send you my 3 strategies, 3 hacks, so you can own your yes. And I say, thank you for being here today. I am Claudia Braun, mindset and lifestyle coach for busy professional women who are really good at saying yes to others. Not necessarily yet as good at saying yes to themselves. So until the next time, bye for now.